From Reese Court in Cheney, Washington, it's time for women's college basketball. It's Mountain West and Big Sky crossover. Boise State visiting the Eagles. Jamie Council joined by Luke Burns, and the Eagles coming off a 2-point loss to Gonzaga on Wednesday, and another great preseason matchup for the Eagles.
Yeah, this is a big, important matchup for Eastern Washington, a team that was picked to finish either first or second in the Big Sky Conference, depending on the media or the coaches' poll. A team that's really on the up and on the rise. This Boise State team been down a little bit the last couple of years, but a Mountain West Conference power perennially. This is a huge thing for Eastern Washington to prove that they belong with the big dogs in the Big Sky Conference, but just as importantly, the regional recruiting that a win over a team like Boise State could bring to Eastern Washington.
And some recruits are in the house tonight, and like we mentioned, a great preseason matchup and a lot of great players. Jaleesa Lawrence is going to be our impact player for Eastern Washington. She had 21 points against Gonzaga. She's their strong forward, and she was also first on the court for this game, making sure that she's ready to go as they're going to need her in today's game.
Yeah, Jaleesa has really developed her game since she got here a couple of years ago as a freshman. She's become a knockdown shooter for this Eagle squad, a go-to scorer, and one of their better perimeter defenders as well. She is a tremendous basketball player.
So great production from Jaleesa Lawrence last game, and for Boise State, the impact player, Abby Muse, 6'3". She's the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year last year. She's ranked second nationally in blocks, averaging 4 a game, 11th nationally in rebounds, averaging 11.4, and she had 15 rebounds against Boise State's win against Davis. They're going to have a handful with Muse.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and Muse is just one of 5 or 6 players listed at 6'1" or taller on this Boise State roster, and if you're gonna look critically at the Eastern roster, one place that they don't have a ton of depth is on the interior. So that's going to be someplace we need to watch closely throughout the course of this matchup.
And let's take a look at tonight's keys to the game presented by Fishers Technology. Fishers Technology is a proud office technology provider of Eagle Athletics. Dunk your next office technology need with Fishers Technology. So for Boise State ball control, Eastern, they're known for their defense, as well as this is the first game on the road for Boise State. We are getting underway. No.
You mentioned that ball control, an early Boise State turnover.
Now let's take a look at the starting lineup. Jacinta Buckley, Jamie Loetta, Leah Alexander, Millie Knowles, and Jaleesa Lawrence. Loetta working in, and we have a foul to get started. So that's on Boise State's Maya Hansen, her first, team's first. Inbound, and Aaliyah Alexander fadeaway, couldn't quite get it to drop. And Boise State, as we take a look at the Broncos starting lineup, Maya Hansen, Mary Canero, Natalie Pasco, Trista Hull, and Abby Muse. And we have a kick from Loetta, not on purpose, but she is going to be up in your face.
Yeah, extremely active on the defensive end, always working. A tireless basketball player, Jamie Loetta.
Quick inbound, and from the baseline, that one sunk as Boise State gets the first points of the game, Natalie Pasco.
Pasco, the only Boise State player scoring in double figures this season, about 14.5 per game.
5th in the Mountain West. Aaliyah Alexander from the elbow, couldn't quite get it to go. Alexander shooting early and often, just can't quite find the net.
Hull secures the rebound, something we're gonna have to watch with this size mismatch presented by the Broncos.
From the elbow, that is Hansen, and Knowles is there. It's gonna be a battle in the paint against the bigs.
Great block out there by Jamie Loetta, keeping Muse off the offensive glass.
Buckley, turnaround, couldn't get it to go. Muse with the defensive rebound. Feed into Pasco and up around, but Boise State recovers.
Boise State really likes to slow the tempo. They're giving up just 52 points per game so far this season, Jamie. An offensive foul there.
Yeah, that's going to get the Eagles riled up. That one is against Muse. Trying to create some space, and Millie Knowles not giving her any room, so a bit of a frustration foul early as the Broncos now with 2 team fouls.
And 1 on their defensive anchor.
Loetta driving, she kicks it out. Buckley guarded by Muse. Buckley with the shot and misses everything. I don't know, did Muse get the touch? She did not. It will be a Broncos ball from the inbound.
I like to see Jacinta Buckley being aggressive offensively early. She is such a dynamic player, could do so many different things for this Eagle squad. When she's scoring, they're really tough to beat.
Broncos working it around. They kick it out. Narrow. Feeding Pasco. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Muse getting up, and she'll draw the foul to head to the charity stripe.
Trying to see who this foul was called on. A lot of traffic down low there. 15. Oh,
so
no,
that
25.
is going to be on Aaliyah Alexander, her first and the team's first, and it's not a shooting. Originally he put up 2, but decided it was a non-shooting foul. Great movement by the Broncos as Trista Hull dumps it in, and the Broncos take a 4-0 lead, 7:05 left in this first quarter.
Just a fantastic flash by Hull to the basket. Great vision by Muse to find it.
Loetta for 3, couldn't get it to go, but Aaliyah Alexander is there with the putback as the Eagles get on the board.
Alexander, an explosive athlete, leading the Eagles in scoring this season, but at 5'8", plenty capable of rebounding inside.
And that's a 3-pointer for Natalie Pasco. She has 5 as the Broncos take the 7-2 lead. Loetta driving to the basket, tries to get it to go behind, and she'll draw the foul.
And that's number 2 on Abby Muse.
That's big. You want to take the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year out of the game, and they're doing great with that as Muse is going to take a seat with 2 personal fouls. Still 6:25 remaining in this first quarter. Loetta makes her first.
Great awareness by Jamie Loetta to get Muse on her hip and understand that she had some leverage there, challenge the shot blocker, and draw the foul. And only gets 1 of 2, but this is much bigger in the larger chess game.
So Muse out of the game. Loetta 1 for 2 as it's 7-3 with just over 6 remaining. Shot by Trista Hull off the mark. But Lodi Lalot in the game, and Eagles come back the other way. Loetta trying to go behind the back. She loses control, and that's going to be a turnover.
And the defensive pressure is nonstop from this Boise State team, and with that length, spaces and creases that you see that you normally might be able to get through, they're able to shrink those so quickly with their length.
Elodie Lalot coming into the game after Muse stepped out. She did have a rebound on the last, and the Broncos turn it over as the Eagles with a turnover right back.
Yeah, Eastern Washington, Millie Knowles is doing a great job making the Boise State bigs work inside. You can see them starting to get frustrated with the physicality she's playing with.
One of our Fisher's technology keys to the game was production from the bigs as Knowles takes a shot from the baseline, couldn't get it to go. Broncos come down with it. Lalot off the glass, couldn't quite get there, and Loetta poking it ahead.
Such a savvy move.
Great move. Aaliyah Alexander trying to get that one to go off the glass, couldn't get the angle. And it's interesting. We talked that Boise wanted to maybe play a little slower, but here they are pushing the pace as Lalott couldn't get it to go, and the Eagles come back the other way.
Yeah, number 23, Jadia Martin, in for Eastern Washington, somehow snuck in there without my noticing. The Eagles' leading scorer a year ago.
And
preseason first team All Big Sky selection.
Pettis also in the game. That's tied up, and it's going to be off the Eagles. It's 7-3 here in the first quarter. When we come back, it's a Broncos ball. Tonight's game is presented by Numerica Credit Union, the official credit union of EWU Athletics and home of the Eagle debit card. Life moves, live well. It's 7-3 here in the first quarter, 4:32 remaining. And Luke, before the break, you're talking about Jadia Martin on the court, and she's had an interesting career being in and out with injury, and she makes such an impact coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mentioned she was a first team All Big Sky Conference preseason selection this year. She can definitely fill it up, and Eagles have been off to a great start. That injury kept her off the court early, and now she's able to come off the bench, provide a spark for this Eastern Washington team. And one of the things that you brought up off the air was, you know, with her not in the lineup, that has sort of empowered the Jaleesa Lawrences, the Leah Alexanders, and maybe put some pressure on them to take some of that scoring load. And I think it's really brought out the best in all three of those players.
A great turnover by Loetta. She gets it to Jadia Martin, and speaking of Jadia Martin, she makes it a 2-point game, her first points of this game.
So aggressive offensively, and this team had been a little bit moribund here in the first few minutes of this contest. To have someone come in and give them that instant spark could give them some life here later on.
Bella Hayes putting too much pressure behind Lalott. She'll pick up her first personal, second team foul. Lalott inbound, guarded by Hayes. And on that, Danny Bays took the elbow. That will be on Alexis Pettis. So 3 team fouls apiece. First for Pettis. Martin, Pettis, and Bella Hayes exiting the court as Buckley, Lawrence, and Knowles back in the game. 15 seconds left on the shot clock as they work around the perimeter. And Boise is a team that loves to share the ball. And how about that with the shot clock at 3? Lalott kissing it off the glass. It's 9-5.
Yeah, great defense there by Millie Knowles. Just better offense. A really tight angle off the glass with the left hand. But Lalott able to kiss it in.
With Muse going out, Lalott stepping up big, showing she deserves this spot on the court. No loss of production. Leah Alexander going off the back iron. Boise State coming down with it.
Leah just 1 of 4 as the Eagles start 2 of 11 from the field here and trail by 4.
Lalott and Loetta trying to come in, but she misses the mark, catches the arm, and she'll pick up her first personal.
I love to see her being aggressive defensively, but that was almost reckless defensively.
She had a great turnover a couple possessions ago that led to 2 points by Jadia Martin. And still trying to do what she does. There's a reason why she was the Defensive Player of the Year for the Big Sky.
Yes.
And somewhat of a local, too, Jamie Loetta from Moses Lake, Washington, but transferred from Arizona State.
Just a 55% free throw shooter coming into the contest, 11 of 20 on the season before today.
Nice feed to Loetta. Loetta kicking it out. Shot by Buckley off the mark. And we have another foul. This is a very chippy game. Both teams respecting the other, trying to get the upper hand, but not quite clean here in the early season as Jaleesa Lawrence picks up her first 5th-team foul for the Eags.
Really strong rebound there by Lindsay Lavrovich, the 5'9" guard, going up and getting that thing in traffic with 2 hands.
She makes her first, so she gets a second. Lavrovich puts 2 on the board from the charity stripe. So we started off this game talking about how fouls was impacting the Broncos, and now we see it impacting the Eags. And a turnover, stepping in front of the ball, okay, Narrow. And Narrow putting it up for 2. The turnover leading to 2 and the 8-point lead.
Eastern Washington really struggling against the pressure defense of Boise State here early on. And quite frankly, I think that was a little bit of a microcosm of what we've seen so far, settling for long-range jumpers.
A good move, but no basket for Jaleesa Lawrence. Loetta hitting the deck as Lavrovich taking it back the other way. That's back-to-back in transition baskets for the Broncos, and Eastern's going to call the timeout.
Yeah, an 8-0 run over the last 152 for Boise State. This is not a team, the Broncos, that you can afford to dig yourself a hole against. They are so stout defensively that if you find yourself in too big of a hole, there's going to be no way of getting out of it. Eastern Washington, a well-timed timeout. They need to talk this thing over, regroup, and come out. You know, it seems offensively they're kind of being reactive instead of being proactive. They need to come out, move with a purpose, with some confidence, and get something going offensively.
So Boise State, we talked about their bigs, but their 3-point shooting has been hot, hot, hot. They had 6 threes in just the 4th quarter in their win over Davis. 11 total in that game, as well as Pasco above 50% from beyond the arc. So that's something Eastern is aware of, but it might be spreading them a little thin as another turnover coming out of the timeout for the Eags.
Yeah, Lalott, nice job of reaching that left hand out and getting a piece of that pass from Loetta.
A lot going up, but coming down with it, Jadia Martin. Martin gets it to Loetta. Loetta going all the way to Lee Alexander. Too hot to handle as it's another Eastern turnover.
Yeah, that's just an uncharacteristic pass. I don't know what you're looking to gain. That's a tough skip pass to make from that angle.
The first road game for Boise State, and they're up by 10 with 1:02 remaining in the first quarter. So we get a look at Jody Gleason and Gordy Presnell. Gordy Presnell in his 19th season with Boise and his 37th season overall in Division I basketball. So we know it's good coaching as Andy Zylak coming into the game.
741 career wins for Gordy Presnell. He might know what he's doing.
Bounce pass into Hayes. Hayes working to the hoop. She gets her own rebound, goes up again, can't get it to go. She gets her second rebound and try again. That's 2 for Hayes.
Just padding those rebounding stats.
getting the stats and the score. 8 seconds remaining in this first quarter. We have a 3 rolling off the hoop. And that will do it here in quarter number 1, as Alicia Christensen couldn't get the stats to follow on the 3. So after 1 quarter of play from Cheney, Washington, it's Broncos 15 and Eagles 7. You're watching college women's basketball on ESPN+. Tonight's game is presented by Fisher's Technology. Fisher's Technology is a proud office technology provider of Eagle Athletics. Dunk your next office technology needs with Fisher's Technology. (15-7) after 1 quarter of play, as the second quarter getting started. Andy Zylak finding the ball. A nice feed into Hayes. Hayes going off the glass. She draws the foul. Doesn't get the bucket, but she'll head to the line for 2. As picking up personal is Jada Clark. It's Jada Clark's first, and take a look at the court with the fouls. Nobody on the court except for now Jada Clark for the Broncos have fouls.
You know, that's what they say is the mark of a good defensive team, is to be able to play without fouling. And so far, Boise State has done exactly that. Eastern Washington, I think 3 of 19 from the field so far. 3 of 18, excuse me.
And perhaps flexing some depth as well to make sure they don't lose any players. As going off the glass, kissing it, that was Lebrovich. She gets the bucket and the foul, as she'll head to the line to try to make it a 3-point play.
Foul called on Jadia Martin, her first. The first on the Eagles here in the second quarter. Lebrovich will go to the free throw line.
Now what a great shot, what a great finish by Lindsay Lebrovich.
4 of 4 from the stripe so far this season.
And she'll have to settle for her original bucket going off the back iron. As Eastern able to secure the ball. Gabrielle Young in the game for the Eags, as is Andy Zylak. 7 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Lawrence trying to get it off. It did not hit the rim, but Boise State comes up with the ball, which makes the shot clock null and void. Here comes the Broncos.
Yeah, you wonder who's going to score the ball for Eastern Washington. We talked about, with Martin coming off the bench, Lawrence and Alexander have to assume some of that responsibility. With this lineup, we'll see if they can do just that.
Feed into Leah Alexander, and she is blocked. What a great defensive play from Trista Hull. And normally when we talk about blocks, we talk about Abby Muse. Hull missing from the free throw line. Muse is 1 block away from being an even 200, and she's also 9 away from becoming the 7th leading rebounder in program history.
Just 28 blocks in 7 games this year.
And Aaliyah Alexander gets her second bucket of the game to make it a 6-point game, under 8 remaining in half.
You know, all credit to Boise State's defense, but you can't assume that Eastern's going to be this cold shooting the ball all game long.
It hasn't been that much of a difference. Guarding Liz Hayes, and in transition, that's Aaliyah Alexander. And just like that, it's a 4-point game.
Eastern Washington getting it done on the defensive end, which is leading them to some early offensive opportunities. When you don't have to pull the ball out of the net, it's a lot easier to play defense.
Pull from beneath the hoop. Hayes and Young standing her up. Boise is left with just 7 seconds on the shot clock. Rovich kicks it out. 3 seconds. And stepping out of bounds was Taden Thompson. She thought she had an easy trip to the hoop, but Eastern saw the call. Aaliyah Alexander getting 6 points, a quick 4 points, stepping out, taking a well-deserved breather as Alexis Pettis entering for the Eags.
Eastern Washington really needing that spark.
And great give and go, Knowles to Loetta. Loetta can't get it to go. Jaleesa Lawrence kicking it out to Pettis. Pettis working her way to the hoop. And she is fouled a bit too much pressure by Mary Kay Narrow.
First on Narrow, first on Boise State in the second. And that's one thing Alexis Pettis does. She puts pressure on the defense.
And a quick inbound as Jamie Loetta brings the Eagles within 2.
Her first field goal of the game after missing her first 3. Eagles starting to get cooking on offense.
Great start to this second quarter by Eastern Washington. Hull, 8 seconds remaining on the shot clock. As a bit of miscommunication from the Broncos as the Eagles defense too much to handle.
A 6-0 run for Eastern Washington over the last minute 45. That was the 9th turnover by Boise State here. Still 6 minutes to go in the first half. And what's interesting to me is so many of their turnovers have been of that variety. Just kind of, an errant pass, a missed communication, something along those lines. It hasn't so much been forced by the Eagle defensive pressure as just mistakes by Boise State.
And another mistake being made, unneeded foul, that time coming from Maya Hansen, her second. Hansen will take a seat as Rovich entering back into the game. Loetta trying to find a lane. She kicks it out to Young for 3. Off the mark by Lawrence. Lawrence again for 3. This time she sinks it. That's 3 points and the lead for the Eastern Washington Eagles.
A great possession by Gabby Young right there, making the extra pass to set up the first 3, diving to get the offensive rebound, kicking it right back out to Lawrence for the bucket.
11-2 the scoring here in this second quarter so far. Eastern Washington trailing 15-7 after 1 quarter of play, night and day, Luke.
Yeah, 9-0 run now, 4 turnovers in the last 4 minutes for Boise State. And that is what is befalling them to this point.
Pettis trying to find a lane. She gets it up, but Boise State finds it as it's off the mark. Pushing the pace back the other way.
Oh.
What a nice bucket by Natalie Pasco. That's one player that knows how to score.
Yeah, she grabbed the rebound, beautiful outlet pass, and then sprinted down the court to get herself an easy bucket. Great effort by Pasco.
6 points off fast breaks for Boise State in the first quarter. Pettis off the rim, not once but twice and out.
Uses rebound, ends another Eastern Washington possession.
Shot for 3 off the mark. Loetta coming down with it. And like you just mentioned, Abby Muse in the game. Lawrence for 3 off the mark, and Muse with the rebound And Muse just 9 rebounds away from being 7th in program history.
She's got 4 today in just 5 minutes of action due to those 2 personal fouls picked up early.
So a little bit of stat tracking for Muse. And there is a block by Muse as she now has 200 blocks as a Bronco, Abby Muse. But it will be an Eastern ball when we come back. It's Boise State by 1. You're watching women's college basketball on ESPN+. Coming up on the Bud Light halftime show, interview with Skip Gleason and highlights and stats. Bud Light, the official beer of EWU Athletics. Easy to enjoy, easy to celebrate. So Luke, one conversation I believe was happened with the Eagles was a stat from last game in their 2-point loss against Gonzaga. Second chance points, 19-4 in favor of the Bulldogs. Offensive rebounds, 20-5 against the Eags. This game, they're winning both of those.
Yeah, that was
7-2 and 11-0 in second chance points.
Yeah, that was something that I thought was, potentially a pressure point for this Eagles squad in this game. So far, Eagles ahead 7-2 on the offensive glass, and they've turned that into an 11-0 advantage in second chance points so far in this game, and that has been the thing that has sustained them as their shooting has been so cold here early on, or at least through the first quarter.
The turnaround shot by Jadia Martin gives the Eagles the 1-point lead. 3:30 remaining in the half. 3 lead changes in this game so far, as Boise State looking to make it 4, but coming up with the ball off the rebound, it's Jadia Martin. Zylak to Buckley. Buckley to Martin. Back to Zylak. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Zylak trying to kick it out, and it's swiped away by Boise State. It will be an Eagle ball with 7 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Muse is stepping out of the game, as is Larovich.
Bella Hayes and Aaliyah Alexander back in for Eastern Washington. Go ahead.
7 seconds on the shot clock. A quick inbound to Jadia Martin. She's there, couldn't quite find the right angle.
The Eagles seem to have gotten much more comfortable as this game has gone on. They seem far less hurried offensively.
And a lot working to the hoop. Short off the iron.
I think the size of Bella Hayes is really giving some problems to this Boise State front line right now.
Yeah, Bella Hayes, a 6'3" redshirt freshman.
What just happened?
We had a turnover on that one.
Yeah,
there was
there a travel?
no foul. There might have been a travel. I was looking away and didn't quite catch the call. Either way, it is a turnover as Boise State down 1. Leah Alexander and Trista Hull tying it up.
This has really been a tale of 2 quarters. Boise State 6 of 13 in that first quarter, jumped out to that 8-point lead, while Eastern was 3 of 17. 2 of 9 for Boise in the second. I think it's just 5 of 15 for Eastern Washington, but that work that they've done on the offensive glass has allowed them to claw their way back into this ball game.
And this one, all Eagles, the possession in favor of the Broncos. The offensive foul putting it back into the hands of the Eags. Under 2 minutes remaining in the half. Jadia Martin kicking it out to Buckley. Buckley for 3 as the Eagles extend their lead to 4, their largest lead in this game.
A great job there by Jadia Martin, probing, sucking that defensive player in, and then finding the wide open shooter.
Now their biggest lead was by 1. So Eagles, unselfish play coming as Aaliyah Alexander. It wasn't pretty, but it works. Aaliyah Alexander salvaging that one. The pass from Loetta. Those two playing good teammates.
Yeah, what a crafty find by Loetta to get that back to Alexander. Aaliyah didn't even think she could find a way to get it there. And then Alexander goes high off the glass for the finish.
So 25-19, under 1 remaining. The shot from 3, no good. And Boise State, a team known for their 3-pointers. They've been a bit cold from beyond the arc.
A terrific block out there by Hayes on Lolat. We got a moving screen, I think is the call.
That one on Buckley. That is her first. So under 40 remaining in half. Boise State working it around. Bull feeding Lolat, and Hayes gets her hand in there as the Eags get the turnover. The 20 seconds remaining in the half and on the shot clock.
Hayes refused to give Lolat any sort of post position down there, really working hard to keep her out and then able to poke that pass away.
5 seconds remaining. Loetta feeding Martin, and Jadia Martin before the buzzer at half as the Eagles take the 9-point lead. What a finish to the half from the Eagles.
A 10-0 run over the final 3:48, a 19-2 run over the final 8 minutes of that first half, and then the quick trigger by Jadia Martin to close out the second quarter and give the Eagles a 9-point lead. Great find by Jamie Loetta. Patient, probing, waiting for the opportunity, and Martin able to capitalize.
You could tell that Loetta saw the time, and she was thinking, I got to get this thing to go in, and out of the corner of her eye saw my teammate has a better chance, and I'd want to put the ball in Jadia Martin's hands too.
I mean, that is always a smart play, to put the ball in the hands of Jadia Martin.
It's festive out here at Eastern Washington. The Eagle, Santa Eagle in the stands. And joining us is Skip Gleason. What a tale of 2 quarters, Skip. Just talk about the adjustments made. You guys had a timeout as well as between half. What adjustments were made night and day for you guys?
Yeah, honestly, I thought we were running pretty good action the first half. They were doing a pretty good job with their ball pressure, and I think they created a little bit of discomfort, and we were missing some shots. I think if we knocked down 2 or 3 of those open looks that we have in the first quarter, we're probably entering quarter number 2 tied, but that wasn't the case. So we came out a little bit more aggressive defensively. I thought we did a nice job of doing that without fouling, and obviously had a really good defensive quarter for us.
Yeah, talk a little bit, if you will, about Jadia Martin. She continues to come off the bench, obviously an explosive scorer. She came in and gave you guys an immediate spark offensively.
Yeah, what a nice tool to have, right, coming off of the bench. And obviously we could put her in the starting lineup and have a great player coming off the bench if we did that as well. So, yeah, being able to be as deep as we are and have the scores coming off the bench is a big asset for us.
And you guys on Wednesday played a great game against Gonzaga, but one thing that on the stat sheet, second chance points 19 and 4, and that is a stat that is night and day. So talk about the adjustment of that, the second chance points and offensive rebounds that are paying dividends.
Yeah, I mean, clearly a very long, bouncy team in Gonzaga, so there was a lot of length there. I think they had 1 offensive rebound first half and 19 in the second half. But obviously it's an issue. These guys have great rebounders as well. They have a lot of length, both at the guard and the post positions, but clearly a focus for us in our conversations and watching on film in the last couple of days and making sure we're finding a tag and a body and doing a good job with that box out. But not only just boxing out, is you got to go get the ball at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Skip.
Yep, you got it.
Good luck in the second half.
Appreciate it.
That's Skip Gleason, assistant coach for the Eagles. The Eagles 13-0 in second chance points, as at halftime they have the 28-19 lead over Boise State. You're watching women's college basketball on ESPN+. It's halftime at Reese Court in Cheney, Washington, 28-19. Eagles over the Broncos. And it's been a fun one, a tale of two different halves. And Skip Gleason, who we heard from before the break, assistant coach for the Eagles, talked about how in the first half they just couldn't get their shots to fall. And the stats definitely show that 17 versus 44%, the shooting percentage from the field, the first quarter to the second quarter. So as they've been able to work into this game and getting Abby Muse, the defensive player of the Mountain West Conference last year, losing her with 2 fouls early in the game was a big hit. And of course, Boise State, they've been playing fast, something that we weren't expecting. They have 8 fast break points. So James Council, joined by Luke Burns, is going to be joining us on here, and Aaliyah Alexander, she's had a good game. She has 8 points so far, leading the Eagles in scoring. And Luetta doing a little bit of everything, playing defense, and of course, dishing the ball. Jadia Martin with the 3. She had a couple big ones. And Natalie Pasco, 5th in the Mountain West in scoring. And she has just 7 points so far.
Early on, it felt like they were playing with a little faster pace than, like you mentioned, we expected. I think to some extent, that was created by rushed shots by Eastern Washington, turnovers by Eastern Washington, which led to fast break opportunities for Boise State. And they're going to take advantage of those easy opportunities when they have them in the second quarter, as Eastern Washington started to clamp down a little bit more defensively, were able to put the ball in a little bit more when they were on the offensive side. It made it a little bit more difficult for Boise State to get out and create those fast break opportunities. And then we've seen the easy scoring chances come for Eastern Washington. And like we've talked about, a tale of 2 quarters.
And Luke, one thing we talked about was that this is the first road game for the Broncos. They're known for being good 3-point shooters, having Abby Muse. So some of the things that you would expect from the Broncos aren't quite seeing that, and it might be a different half for the Broncos.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I think the couple of things that we've talked about, controlling the boards for Eastern Washington and really reining in those turnovers, those 2 things against a defensive team like Boise State. If you're able to limit the self-inflicted wounds, you're going to give yourself a chance later on.
So it is 28-19 here at halftime from Cheney, Washington. We'll have more of the Bud Light second half when we come back. You're watching women's college basketball on ESPN+. Tonight's halftime report is presented by Bud Light. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of EWU Athletics. Easy to enjoy, easy to celebrate. It's a 9-point lead for Eastern Washington over Boise State in this Mountain West and Big Sky crossover. Jamie Council joined by Luke Burns. A difference of a first quarter and second quarter. We talked about the keys to the game. For Eastern, it was perimeter defense, which hasn't really been an issue with the 3-point shooting from Boise, and then production from bigs. And then for Boise, ball control and being on the road. We talked a little bit about that, but ball control, the stats tell that all.
Yeah, 100%. 12 first half turnovers by Boise State. That led to 15 points off of turnovers for Eastern Washington. On the flip side, 6 Eagle turnovers, just 2 points created by Boise State off of those. And then I think another thing, you've talked a couple of times about the perimeter defense and the 3-point shooting of Boise State. Eastern Washington is doing a terrific job. This is a Boise State team that came in shooting 42% from the field, pretty darn good. They're shooting 43% from 3-point range so far in this game, just 1 of 6 from behind the arc. Great job by Eastern Washington running them off that 3-point line.
So here at half, it's Eagles 28 over Boise State. You're watching women's college basketball on ESPN+. It's 28-19 as the third quarter, the second half about to get underway. Eagles with the 9-point lead. They will have first possession to start the half. Knowles as they work it into Aaliyah Alexander. Alexander trying to find Buckley, but it's intercepted by Narrow. And a turnover right back. There's Jamie Loetta out of nowhere.
Yeah, great hands there by Jaleesa Lawrence to deflect that thing and give Loetta a chance to come up with the steal.
And a block from Trista Hull. From the elbow, off the back iron. Mary Kay Narrow can't get it to go, but Mary Kay Narrow, known for dishing the ball, she had 1 assist, which puts her 1 point away from becoming 5th in school history in program history for assists. So now she's 1 away from becoming 5th. Jamie Loetta off the mark. Boise State. It's Narrow feeding
an offensive
Abby
foul.
Muse, but that's going to be an offensive foul. A hard break for Boise State, as that is Abby Muse's 3rd now with the offensive foul.
Great job by Aaliyah Alexander planting those feet, getting position, and drawing that charge.
So Eastern playing Abby Muse well, the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year last year, as well as she is 8th in program history in rebounds, 200 blocks in her career. So a great player that Eastern Washington is lining up to well. And good defense coming from Millie Knowles as the Eags turn it over, and Aaliyah Alexander making it worth the time, putting 3 points in. Aaliyah Alexander now in double figures with 11.
Aaliyah got off to a slow start, made just 1 of her first 5.
And Natalie Pasco answers that back with a 3 of her own. And we've been talking about this Boise State 3-point shooting. They shot just 16.7% in the first half. So Natalie Pasco answering back a 3 with a 3 of her own.
And sometimes it's as simple as just seeing someone make one of those shots and those things start to become contagious.
Jaleesa Lawrence drawing the foul. That's going to be the 2nd on Natalie Pasco, 2nd team foul, and that is a shooting foul. So Lawrence heads to the charity stripe for 2 shots.
This Boise State team committed just 1 foul in the first quarter. Or excuse me, 3 fouls in the first quarter. Into the bonus in the second quarter. Already 2 quick ones here in the third. We talked about the importance of them playing defense and moving their feet, not fouling. Ever since then, Eastern Washington has been able to get themselves a few trips to the line.
An 11-point lead now for the Eagles, 5 points for Lawrence.
We talked about the importance of getting production from the Eastern Washington bigs. And I don't know that we've seen it in the traditional manner that one might expect, but the job that Bella Hayes and Millie Knowles have done defensively on the inside have been admirable today.
And Natalie Pasco floating it in. She now has 12, 5th in the Mountain West in scoring. And she's been unstoppable, and coming down with the rebound is Boise State. Narrow works it to Pasco. From the elbow hole, she's going to drive and finds the lane and puts it in as the Broncos cut their deficit.
Great, strong, decisive move there by Hull. Got the ball and immediately attacked the basket.
Another foul on the Broncos. Puts the Eags at the baseline. That's going to be the first on Danny Bays.
Sophomore from Brisbane, Australia.
Turnaround jumper from the baseline. That's Jacinta Buckley, the Spokane product.
Played nearby at Lewis and Clark High School, just down the road in Spokane.
And then went to UNLV before coming back to Eastern Washington. And Lalott drawing the foul. She wished she had the bucket to boot, but she'll head to the line.
I think if you're Bella Hayes, you got to be happy with that. You get Lalott falling away. Unfortunately, the foul call, but nothing easy is coming to the Broncos on the inside. We talked about needing to get production out of those bigs. As long as you're able to limit what the opposing bigs are going to do, you don't have to do as much on your offensive end, right? And I think they've done a great job of making life hard on the Boise State post players.
You make a great point where, like you said, not in the traditional sense, but we've seen Bella Hayes, who just step out, be able to stand up. Lalott, she poked it away, able to create turnovers, as well as Millie Knowles having a great game. And all you need to do is get those rebounds and, like you mentioned, keep the others from scoring, because Eastern Washington, they're such a deep team. They have scoring from everywhere. Finding somebody that knows how to put it in the hoop is not a problem. Lawrence off the mark. Lalott coming down with it. Bit of a mishandle, but the Broncos recover. Hole. Lalott. Narrow. Bounce pass into Lalott. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Lalott kicking it out, and Jamie Loetta stepping in for the turnover.
Great help side defense, came over, forced that pass away, and then Loetta able to get in there and steal it.
And in their game against Corbin, that was something. The defense not giving them anything, wearing down the shot clock, trying to force them to either make a bad pass or a bad shot, and that's exactly what they did to Boise State on that last one.
You know, Jamie, this game hasn't even officially started. We haven't seen a shot clock violation forced by the Eagle defense, so maybe they'll get that going here for us quickly.
And Jadia Martin, who had the big three, she tries to take the three. She doesn't get the bucket, but she gets the foul as she'll head to the line, and that is the second personal on the 6'2" junior from Yakima, Washington, of Trista Hull.
4 team fouls now. We're not even to the midway point of this third quarter here, and for every foul moving forward in this period will result in 2 free throws for Eastern Washington. They're attacking the basket, really putting some pressure on this Boise State defense and potentially about to cave in here.
And Lalott coming down with the rebound as Martin unable to make the second. Narrow off the iron, and that is, looks like it's going to be a foul on Boise State, and it is, as Jadia Martin holds her court, forcing the foul on the Broncos.
And that's 5 now, so that'll result in 2 free throws for Martin.
So Trista Hull with her third personal as Jadia Martin playing good defense. It's 36-27, Eagles with the lead. It's a 9-point lead for Eastern Washington. Their largest in the game was 12, and Boise State led by 10 points in the first quarter. So a great comeback from Eastern Washington. And the foul underneath the hoop, the offensive foul by Jadia Martin, puts her on the charity stripe as she drops her first and her second. That's 10 points now for Jadia Martin and double digit with the lead.
And back to an 11-point advantage.
So 12 is their largest lead, and Eastern Washington now with 11. As Abby Muse is going to draw the foul.
And that's a good foul by Millie Knowles. It's her first personal. So it's just the second team foul here in the third quarter. It looks like Muse had something going. Get it stopped before it gets rolling.
Narrow can't get it to go, and a good positioning by Jamie Loetta. Then the pass, Pettis trying to find a streaking Loetta off her fingertips and out of bounds. Great look, but not quite the best execution.
Yeah, just a little bit too much mustard on that one. Loetta couldn't haul it in. And an opportunity here for Boise State to once again cut it to single digits.
Abby Muse working beneath the hoop. What great vision as she gets her first bucket of this one. Pettis feeding Knowles. Knowles timed it perfectly. And Millie Knowles makes it an 11-point lead now. That's Knowles' first bucket of this game. And Muse again working to the hoop. She has such great vision.
I love the idea, though, that they're going to Knowles in the post, attacking Muse right now. She's got 3 fouls. She can't afford to aggressively play defense.
So a fun matchup to watch right now is Knowles on Muse. As it's given to Knowles, she shoots over Muse, can't find the bucket, but these two going back and forth saying, you did it, I can do it too.
And a great job there by Jadia Martin, planting her feet, drawing another offensive foul. This one's going to go against Alyssa Christensen.
And that is back-to-back for Jadia Martin, just getting her feet planted, and it seemed like she didn't know where she was on the court, and Martin said, okay, I'm ready, takes the hit like a good teammate does.
Christensen looking the other way, and Martin took advantage.
So the Eagles up by 9, under 3 remaining in this third quarter. As Lawrence getting it, Bella Hayes in the game, Pettis. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Buckley feeding Hayes. Hayes that puts the moves on Muse and gets the 2 points to go.
A great seal by Hayes, terrific patience, and then the touch to drop that thing in.
And answering right back, Danny Bays, the 5'11" sophomore. That's her first bucket of this one.
The 3 trims the Bronco deficit to 8.
So Boise State draws the offensive foul.
Hayes being a little too physical inside there with Muse. Called for the offensive foul, her second personal 3 now on the Eags, just about 2 minutes to go here in the third.
Bella Hayes with 2, the 6'3" redshirt freshman having a great game for 3. Off the iron, Pettis is there, able to track it down in transition. Kicks it out to Loetta. Loetta, looks like that ball was tipped. She was going for the shot, couldn't quite get it as Pettis knocks it away from Muse.
Great hands there by Natalie Pasco to disrupt the Eagle offense, create the turnover.
Giving them a taste of their own medicine. So 42-34, 140 remaining in the third quarter. That one short from Pasco. A scuffle.
And Pasco just rushed it a little bit. Muse gets on the ground, causes the tie-up, and Boise State will maintain possession here.
Possession belonging to the Broncos from the baseline. Bays setting it up. She gets the screen shot from the elbow. She knocks it down.
Great job right there, reading the defense, setting her feet, pulling up, knocking down the 15-footer.
Jamie Loetta, nearly the same spot, short. Coming down with the board was Alyssa Christensen. Wide open, Danny Bays, in and out. And Jacinta Buckley with the rebound. Loetta in transition, a great feed to Bella Hayes, just couldn't quite convinced to go in.
Yeah, Maya Hansen, a nice job of just sort of being a pest there. Her presence inside just enough to speed up Hayes enough to miss that shot.
Pasco floating that one. Eagles come down with it as here comes Jamie Loetta and Eastern Washington. There is a 4-second difference, 5-second between the shot and game clock, but Eastern wearing it down as much as they can. 7 seconds, Jamie Loetta, ball in hand. As she gets it to the corner, Jaleesa Lawrence couldn't get it to go, but there is a whistle.
Jamie Loetta going to get called for a technical foul.
So not quite sure on that one, but Jamie Loetta with the technical, getting tied up as she tried to find the corner to Jaleesa Lawrence. Taking the shots, Maya Hansen, the 5'9" sophomore from Billings, Montana.
And Loetta, as she walked to the huddle with her teammates there, and you could see she said, "My bad, guys." You know, it's a two-possession game with a very competent opponent. You know, giving them 2 free throws and then a possession here could be costly down the line, and certainly atypical of Jamie Loetta to get herself in a little bit of hot water with the officials.
And the Eagles, they give up the bucket coming from Maya Hansen, as it is now a 3-point game here at the end of 3. So Boise State marching back when we come back. 4th quarter action here from Cheney, Washington. Now let's take a look at the Northern Quest Resort and Casino Big Sky Report. Northern Quest, yes, the best. And speaking of the best, Eastern Washington and Northern Arizona named preseason favorites. Eastern Washington in the coaches and Northern Arizona in the media. Portland State's Esmeralda Morales named preseason Big Sky MVP. And Montana State's Lexi Deaton earns 3rd Player of the Week honors this season. So hot play.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
An impressive play from Boise State to end the 3rd quarter. 8-0 run, and Eastern Washington hasn't scored in nearly 3 minutes as Muse swats that one away.
Second block of the game, and hey, if I'm Eastern Washington, I'll take that. Millie Knowles is going at Gabby Muse, who's got 3 personal fouls right now. If you can put her on the bench, that's going to be huge for these final 10 minutes.
Eastern breaks their scoring drought. The inbound to Jacinta Buckley as the Eags down, but they extend their lead to 5 and get the rebound coming back the other way. Martin finding a lane.
Great job of keeping that ball alive by Buckley.
Good movement, and it ends up in the hands of Aaliyah Alexander. She has 14 as the Eagles take the 47-39 lead.
You know, Jacinta Buckley, that's one of the things that she does so well. You know, constantly getting her hands on balls, doing the little things that don't necessarily show up in the box score, but that tip by Buckley just led to a 3-point basket.
So defense turning into offense as Aaliyah Alexander trying to find a lane, loses control as the Broncos find a little bit of relief. Here comes Boise State. So that start to the fourth ended a 240 scoring drought and an 8-0 run by the Broncos to finish out the third. And the Broncos outscored the Eagles 20-14 in that third quarter. And Eastern keeps another scoreless possession, keeping the Broncos at bay.
Jacinta Buckley chasing down that rebound, her 5th of the contest, to go with 7 points.
Leah Alexander running the base, kicks it out to Buckley, and Buckley now with the 3, giving the Eagles the 11-point lead, and Boise State's gonna call a timeout.
Well, just a huge bucket there by Jacinta Buckley. She's been making it happen on the defensive end, rewarded with a wide open look from behind the arc, stretches the lead back to double figures.
It's 50-39. Eastern Washington, the Eagles rolling in the fourth quarter. An 11-point lead for the Eagles. An 8-0 start here to the fourth quarter as Boise State ended the third quarter 8-0. So Eastern coming right back, and we talked about it at the beginning of the quarter that Eastern Washington picked second in the media poll, first in the coaches poll. So it's between Eastern Washington and Northern Arizona, just picked to finish. Of course, that's not indicative of how teams will actually finish.
Sure, and you saw Northern Arizona, Eastern Washington both got 12 first place votes in that poll. In the opposite poll, just 1 point separated them. Those two teams are nip and tuck right there with one another here in the preseason at least.
And a lot of question marks around the Big Sky. That's something that we have talked about. But Eastern, good player retention, that you know exactly who is on this roster. As Millie Knowles reaching in there on Muse, making it a possession ball, but that's possessions belonging to Boise State. Just 6 seconds remain on the shot clock.
Great job by Jaleesa Lawrence coming in there, timing that double team.
3 seconds as Maya Hansen able to get it off. Blocking out Jacinta Buckley, she'll get the rebound.
Buckley has really come alive here late in the third into the fourth quarter. Dominating on the glass. 5 points here in the early going of the final frame.
10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Loetta, bounce pass, Knowles fakes off the glass. That's 2 points for Millie Knowles.
Again, though, I think that's the result of the early work that they did getting Muse into foul trouble. I think she's a much more aggressive defender on that shot without 3 fouls.
Not just that, but if you saw, Jamie Loetta was looking over at Buckley saying, hey, set up my screen, looking that way, and then turns and she drives to the hoop. A little bit of shadows and mirrors cast by Jamie Loetta that earned 2 points for Millie Knowles.
Jamie's so crafty. She seems to know all of the angles, all of the little tricks. And she's really helped elevate this program in her year plus here in Cheney, Washington.
Buckley and Knowles exiting the game. Bella Hayes stepping back on. She's had a great game. Jadia Martin standing up Hull. Hull kicks it out to Narrow. Hull, a product of LaSalle High School in Yakima, Washington. Lalott forcing it as Hayes forces it, and then the outlet, Aaliyah Alexander kicks it out to Martin, and nothing she liked. They will reset. Loetta finding the lane, and she says, I'll take those 2 points.
What a finish. The change of speeds there in the middle of her step. Did you see the little hesitation and then the left-hand finish? So creative.
So Loetta doing it all. As it's 54-39, 6 minutes remaining, and another possession ball. Eagles very good at not getting the foul and finding the ball in those plays.
Yeah, that's back-to-back tie-ups by the Eastern Washington defense. First by Jaleesa Martin, now by, Jaleesa Lawrence, now by Jadia Martin. Both times, though, hands directly onto the ball. Great job by the Eagle defense.
I don't need any confusion, Luke. We both know that. Off the glass, that's 2. Feed Martin to Lawrence as it's 54-39. Eagles still rolling here in the 4th.
Eastern Washington really playing with confidence on the offensive end right now.
Lalott trying to maintain possession, but Pettis swinging in there. She takes it court to court like a good teammate. Pettis feeding Lawrence. And that's another 2 points. How about that, teammates? It is now 56-39 with 5:26 remaining here in Cheney, Washington. You're watching college women's basketball on ESPN+. Tonight's game is presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, official beverage partner of Eagle Athletics. A 19-point lead for Eastern Washington and a 16-0 run in the 4th quarter. Boise State, not a single score so far in this quarter.
The Eastern Washington defense, we've talked about them getting hands on balls. We saw Lawrence, we saw Martin. Bella Hayes getting a hand on that last pass in, led to the steal by Alexis Pettis. The Eagle defense is setting up the Eagle offense.
Just swarming the Broncos. Lalott with the screen. Hayes standing up Lalott. And Hayes blocking her, but Lalott working through pressure to the hoop as the Broncos break their scoring streak, or break their scoreless streak.
That was their first points since Hansen made that layup right at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Pettis in the corner, and that is 3 points for Alexis Pettis. Her first points of this game.
AP, this instant offense off that bench. She brings so much energy to this Eagle squad.
Lalott running into the wall that was Bella Hayes. Jadia Martin off of the wall, out of bounds. Boise State keeps possession, 22 seconds remaining on the shot clock, plenty of time. Larovich, and she is fouled. That was on Hayes. So Hayes picking up her 3rd. And for a second, you saw Jacinta Buckley trying to come from behind.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be the one that got whistled for that one.
It looked clean to me, which is why I was like, oh, if it was Buckley that touched it. But on the front end, good views by our officiating crew here from Reese Court. As Larovich gets her 8th point of this game.
So an 18-point Eagle lead, though.
A great 4th quarter for Eastern Washington. Court to court as Leah Alexander kicking it out to Buckley. Buckley can't get it to boot. And off the ball, that's going to be a foul on Jacinta Buckley.
It's 2 on Cinta. 2 in the fourth quarter, or excuse me, 3 in the fourth quarter by Eastern Washington.
So a foul off the ball. Knowles on the ground. Lalott comes up with the ball, cannot come up with the hoop as Muse going up. She gets swatted away.
I think Loetta might have knocked that one out of bounds.
Yeah, Eastern knocking it out of bounds, so remains a Boise State ball. 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Inbound from the baseline, a quick inbound to Natalie Pasco. Broncos recover, but Loetta picking it off, stepping between, feeding Aaliyah Alexander. That one tipped. Alexander able to keep possession. A broken play in transition, but Eags able to maintain possession. Loetta driving the baseline, kicking it out to Buckley, and then to the corner, Aaliyah Alexander off the mark.
A little too strong, but great job, great patience by Loetta, just probing, bending that defense and finding open shooters.
And a miscue. Gives it back to the Eagles. Out of bounds, nobody is there to answer. And Gabrielle Young coming in the game for Jacinta Buckley. Young, a 5'10" redshirt junior from Dickinson, North Dakota, home of the Midgets.
That's the 21st turnover by Boise State in this ball game. You know, you talked a couple of times about this is their first road contest of the game. You can't go on the road and expect to beat good teams and commit 21 turnovers.
Loetta draws it down to 8 and draws the foul. And I think that play is pretty indicative of how this game is going to go. Eastern Washington is just thinking, let's take all the time we can off of that clock. So there we saw Mary Kay Narrow putting a bit too much pressure.
Yeah, that quick first step of Loetta just got her to the hip of Narrow and couldn't quite recover from that position, picks up the foul.
Shot clock at 6. Aaliyah Alexander shooting over Lalott, off the mark as it goes out of bounds on Eastern Washington.
This is can we talk a little bit about this Boise State team, a young team. Muse really the only senior that gets significant playing time, has a big role on this team. Gordy Presnell, the Boise State coach. This is a bunch that from the 16-17 season to the 2021 season, this group won 100 games, averaged 25 wins a season, qualified for 4 consecutive NCAA tournaments. And then they fell on a little bit of hard times, 44-46 overall since that 2020-2021 season. But Presnell really building this thing back. You can see the youth movement coming here and not quite ready to compete with an experienced team like this as the Eastern Eagles on the road, but there's certainly some things for this Bronco team to build upon as this season moves along.
The first official road game for the Broncos. They had 2 games at the neutral site in Vegas. Shot from the corner, 3 no good as Loetta comes down with it. They went 1-1 in Vegas and then 5-0 on home court. So this is a hard travel to make, as well as it's snowing outside and just having to deal with travel on top of a game. It's the first time that Boise State's had to do that. And Jaleesa Lawrence knocking it down from the pocket. And Lawrence now in double figure scoring with 11.
Yeah, one of 4 Eagles into double figures. Lawrence, J.D. Martin has 10, Buckley with 10, and Alexander leads the way for Eastern Washington with 14 as the Eags are gonna clear their bench. Andy Zylak, Ella Gallatin, and Bree Schuler into the game to join Gabby Young and Bella Hayes.
It's funny when we were talking about the bench coming in, we don't talk much about Bella Hayes because she plays with such a feel seniority, even though she's still settling in.
Yeah, coming into this game, Bella Hayes had played 23 minutes this season, had 6 points and 6 rebounds. Tonight, Bella Hayes, 16 minutes, 6 points, 5 rebounds. A heck of a performance by the redshirt freshman.
And it's officially a game with 57 seconds left. There's your shot clock violation.
I've been hoping for that.
And Bella Hayes, the 6'3" redshirt freshman, having an outstanding game from Wasilla, Alaska.
Bella was a player that Skip and Jody really thought could help this program a year ago as a true freshman, but then an injury forced her to sit out all of last year and really just kind of trying to feel her way back into the game of basketball, let alone adjusting to the pace of Division I basketball at that. A heck of a performance by the 6'3" Hayes.
So 30 seconds remaining in this game. Shot clock at 7, Young for 3. Off the mark, Hayes is there, and she's able to draw the foul. Trying to go up because that didn't hit the iron. So shot clock at 4, Hayes trying to go up, and she will get the foul and head to the line.
She's now matched her season total for both points and rebounds in this game alone. Strong performance.
And that is the second on Caitlin Burgess, called for the foul. Heckman coming down with the rebound. 14 seconds remaining in this game. Last second shot off the mark as Andy Zylak, ball in hand as the final buzzer sounds. Eastern Washington with a decisive 21-point win over their foes from the Mountain West Conference in Boise State.
Yeah, this is a big-time win for Eastern Washington. You know, I talked in the pregame about the fact that, you know, local recruiting ties, Boise State just, you know, about 6 hours from where we are right now in Cheney. And we know there are 2 recruits in the building right now that are being recruited by both of these schools. Wins like this can go a long way to helping Eastern Washington or Boise State, whoever wins, win those recruiting battles. So a big one along those lines as well for Eastern Washington.
And tonight's play of the game is brought to you by Bud Light, easy to enjoy, easy to celebrate. And Bella Hayes tipping it away. Pettis with the steal, and like a good teammate, finds Lawrence. And she could have easily gotten, that would have been her first bucket of the game, and instead the easy decision made to feed Lawrence. So that is our Bud Light play of the game. And tonight's player of the game is brought to you by Numerica Credit Union. Life moves, live well. And Aaliyah Alexander, our player of the game, a decisive win against a very good opponent. What do you have to say again about tonight's game? You had 14 points.
Yeah, it was a really good team win. We started off a little slow. The game was really aggressive, but once we started swinging the ball, everybody was getting shots, and we were really able to come together and start scoring some buckets and having some fun. Yeah,
Leah, you guys really seemed to find your groove there in the second quarter. You were able to hit a couple of jumpers there early on. How good is it when you guys are missing the basket on a regular basis to see someone get something going in? How much does that affect everybody else's attitude moving forward?
Oh yeah, it gives us energy. Anybody going off, we just live off of that. So we love when everybody gets off and we just play as a team.
And you guys had 26 points off of turnovers. Such a fun group to watch where you swarm the other team and not afraid to give the ball to others. Just talk about the group on the floor, everybody playing their role.
Well, in practice, we were talking about having great intensity on defense, and we can score off of defense too. So I think our defense intensity was good. So we were getting steals, and when we come down, we're just swinging the ball, and everybody was going off. So it was really fun.
Thank you for your time. Congratulations on the win. That is Aaliyah Alexander, our player of the game, brought to you by Numerica Credit Union, leading the Eagles with 14 points.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaliyah. Going to be joined in just a second here by Eagle head coach Jody Gleason.
And she kind of talked about it, but 26 points off of turnovers as compared to just 4 points for the Broncos. And we are being joined by Jody Gleason, head coach for the Eags. A big decisive win. I want to talk about the adjustment from the start of this game. You guys really clicked, and it was electrifying.
These guys just work so hard. I got to give it up to our coaches who do our scouts and get us prepared, and then our players lock in practice, and I felt like we were extremely prepared for the action that Boise State runs. But they have some really, really, really good players, and you know, you have to take care of business on the court. They can score inside. They have some deadly three-point shooters, so I think that they're a really tough team that we were able to knock off tonight.
Yeah, how were you guys able to slow them down so much? A team that shoots, 45% or near there from three-point range, just 3 of 13 from behind the arc. You guys did a really nice job of chasing them off the line and really putting good ball pressure, making them work for every point they got.
That was the goal. Like I said, they have some really, really good shooters, especially Pasco. And, I mean, you can go all the way down the line. Pasco and Maya, all of them, they all can really shoot it. And, just kind of recognizing personnel, who I have, and if I'm guarding any of those guys, I have to go over screens. I have to run them off the line. I must arrive with the ball with the high hand. We're really athletic at the guard. I think that helps us. We have some length and some athleticism where they were able to disrupt them a little bit on the perimeter. So, like I said, it's all about hard work when you want to defend with that urgency, especially such a tough team.
And a tough 2-point loss against Gonzaga, and you guys played great, but one stat line was on second chance points. You guys trailed 19-4, trailing the Bulldogs in this one 20-4. That is night and day. Talk about that adjustment. What conversations were made with your squad?
I mean, obviously that was the key to that Gonzaga game. They had 19 no boards in the second half alone and scored numerous points off of them, and obviously that was as a coaching staff, that's what we've been working on the last couple days. Just drilling that home where we defend. People are missing shots, and we must be able to go get the ball. And obviously you could see that was a case tonight. Boise State has the same thing. They rebound the ball like crazy, and I thought that our players really did a good job. So that was kind of our, we always have different goals for each game, and keeping them off the boards was the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th goal.
Well, congratulations on the win, and thank you for your time, Coach.
All right, thanks. Go Eags.
All right, that is Jody Gleason in her 3rd season at Eastern Washington as her Eagles get the 21-point win over Boise State. Our final here from Cheney, Washington. Eastern Washington 64, Boise State Broncos 43. On behalf of ESPN Plus, our executive producer Jared Bashirs and my broadcast partner Luke Burns, I'm Jamie Council. Have a great night.
When I feel that pressure, I deliver. I'm unstoppable. Yeah. Let me prove that. Go ahead, let me lift you. Oh, yeah, I can lift you. People like me don't come around every day. I'm unique. When I get down, I give everything to win. Teach that. Let me prove that. That crown on my lip.